right, claimed listeners and claimed viewers, wherever you're watching or viewing this, I am extremely excited to speak today with three of the beautiful women from the Claimed program. This is another Roundtable episode. This is like a tradition. I think this is the fourth one, actually. Sometimes I interview women one-on-one, but I get very excited to be interviewing, a few women at a time, because it's just such a fun experience, and we get to hear from a few different stories and situations. And so I welcome Natalie from LA, Sonia from DC, and Christina from New York. Welcome, ladies. Super happy to have you here.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. They're like, oh my God, what is this about? How is this going to be? So I'm just going to start with, look, I know that most of you, if not all of you, have never done this probably before, and it might be a bit out of your comfort zone, and, and you might be a little bit nervous, but so I really, I want to say thank you, because this is really, I really appreciate this, your time and your vulnerability, and you coming on here to share your story of what has been happening for you in the Claim program, and hopefully, as I said, through your story, other women will see what it's like and what's possible for them. And as I told other women on roundtables, based on this episode, you're going to see women joining the program and be like, Sonia, Christina, or Natalie, I've heard your interview, and this is why I'm here. So we're going to spread the impact of this work. So let's begin about, if you can just, let's go around the circle, and I'm kind of going to be going around like this, and just tell us about yourself first, as much as you want to share. Again, we're on the internet, so we do respect your privacy, so just feel free to share whatever comes to your mind in terms of, tell us about yourself, and let's begin with you also sharing how did you find about Claimed, about my work, and what really brought you, into this work. So let's begin with Natalie.
My name is Natalie. I am a licensed acupuncturist and nutritionist in LA. And I found Anna's work on Facebook. At that point, I was really going through a tough year with my ex-husband, or separated from husband. We had been together close to 10 years and had been facing just extreme challenges. He has a vasectomy, and he was not wanting a family, and I originally didn't, and then changed my mind, and he didn't kind of accommodate that, or it became a big point of strife in our relationship. And he also wasn't really able to be there for me financially. And instead of me, over the years, instead of me kind of asserting myself, I just kind of went into trying to baby him and mother him and like help him and really see how I could fit into his world, whether that meant adoption or foster care, or eventually he was like, okay, sperm donor. I was like, wow, this is getting crazy. And then I would have to pay for everything, and it was just getting crazy. And I didn't have any language, even though I was in therapy, like I didn't have any language or conceptual framework to understand what the pathology was in the relationship. And I loved him so much as a person and as a friend and as a spiritual partner. And we had a great sex life as well. But that provider protector thing was missing for so many years. And I didn't understand that concept. And so when I saw the webinar, I was like, holy shit, like this is, and when Anna, you said you broke up with a feminine man and that started your journey, I was like, oh my God, like that's what's happening. And this is not what I want for the rest of my life. Like I want to be a mother, and that's okay. Like I don't need to feel guilty about that. I want a man who can pay for things, and that's okay. I don't need to feel guilty about that. And I think I misunderstood, my love and friendship for him for sacrificing my own happiness. And so I ultimately decided to end the relationship in January. And it was actually a great ending. We were mutual, and we decided, we're like, okay, this is not working. And I felt so light. And then I joined the Claim program, and honestly, I can say I thank God for this program. Like, seriously, and not about even men, but the community of women in this program. It's like going through a divorce during COVID alone while I was studying for my state board exams at the same time. I don't think I would have gotten through it, and like dating and everything without the women community, and to be understood and to be heard and to be respected in this community has just been monumental. And I really now have a framework to understand what went wrong in my relationship and why that was so problematic. And then now going forward, what kind of man I really need to say yes to, and like what's a yes and what's a no. So yeah, so I'm like so grateful for this program.
Oh, thanks so much, Natalie.
Yeah.
We're going to get into kind of the meat and the bones of the program in a moment. But something that you said, I just want to comment, Natalie, where you said, I gave myself permission in a way that, no need to feel guilty about, wanting to be a mother, wanting for a man to play that protector, provider role, and for him to pay for dinner and everything, and it's quite a brave thing to say for you, Natalie, openly, because we live in a world today. I know what happened because I've studied what happened, but it's such a natural thing, and we explore that polarity in the program a lot, right? And what I find really sad is that women are not allowed to voice what they really want and what feels true to them. And there's many different factors that contribute to a woman wanting to feel safe in a relationship, wanting to be taken care of, and wanting to be a mother. When I expressed my desire for a second child, which I'm pregnant now with, women were like, "You're so brave," and I'm like, "What? Like, when did wanting a child and saying that out loud become brave?" Like, it's a really strange world we're living in today. So I really appreciate you sharing that, Natalie, because that's huge, and it starts with us, right? If we don't give ourselves permission, get clear on that, and release the guilt from a very natural, essential, desire for so many women, then how can the rest of the world really get on board with that? So I appreciate that, Natalie. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to Sonia. Sonia, tell us about yourself, and how did you find out about my work?
Well, hello, I'm Sonia. So a little bit about myself. I've always been very career driven. Currently, I am a regional director in healthcare, and just throughout my whole life, I've always been very career focused. For the past 8 years, I've moved every 2 years because of a promotion or because of my career. So I had a very unstable career comes first before everything. Life, very, cliche. But eventually, I think there was I just had a feeling that something's missing, something's wrong, no matter how much I make or what titles or promotions and whatever I get. Like, it's just, I'm still wanting more. I'm chasing something that I'm not finding. And I just saw everybody around me starting to get married, having kids, this and that. And my relationships were such a mess. I can't even begin to explain. There were toxic relationships. There were completely depolarized relationships. I was paying for everything in almost every relationship, with the exception of maybe one. And I'm talking about flying people across the world, like taking trips and all this other stuff. And, having gone through this program, I now know why and what the root cause for that is. But something just felt wrong. And I started noticing I was getting a bit bitter, and I definitely did not have a high opinion of men. And there was just some kind of anger. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I saw this post on Facebook one day, this article of "Where have all the good men gone?" I'm like, oh my God, where have they gone? Do you know? Like, tell me. And I still remember everything I was thinking in the beginning of reading the article, but just based on where I was just much like your story, Anna. You had been with a man that you thought you were going to marry, or, you were dating that was in his feminine. I was in a relationship for 4 years with this guy, and I thought he was great because he didn't cheat on me, and because he did the bare minimum. He was still an amazing person, but still I feel in his feminine. So I always felt something was missing. And because of that, I actually let him go, which was very difficult. And after that, I was in a very hardcore situationship. And after getting frustrated with that and seeing that article, and then I just realized I needed to make a change. Like, I didn't want to be part of this cycle anymore. I wanted answers, if nothing else. And I watched the webinar, and I kind of had my mind blown. I still have my messages to one of my really close friends. I was like, this is why. And just talking about like just what my realizations were, and reading back to that now, even though it wasn't that long ago, I feel as if I'm reading the writing of a different person, but I remember how I felt while I was writing it. It's just the craziest, but I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Sonia. Hardcore situationship. For everybody listening who doesn't know what that is, this is lingo in our program. It's like that limbo state between where you're asking yourself, what is this, and what does this mean? Are we in a relationship or are we not? Which so many women are in, right? And in the program we work on, all right, you need to get out of this limbo state because it's not good. All right. Well, thanks so much, Sonia. And of course, I'm so excited to get to the point where you tell us what happened in the program, because you've got some pretty cool recent developments happening. Right. So, which is, when I listen to your story of how you joined, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's big, that's massive. If you paid for everybody to fly, then I can see when somebody offers to pay for you or books your tickets, how different that feels.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I will, yes, so I will have plenty to say.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, Christina, tell us about you, and how did you find the program, and how did you find about my work?
Thanks, Anna. Good afternoon, everyone. Christina, I'm grateful, very grateful to be here. Again, thank you for including me in today's roundtable with these lovely ladies. So I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I have been living in Manhattan in New York for years, working in finance, mostly in an investment banking and trading environment. So you can imagine a lot of men, a lot of masculine men. And I'm still in a financial institution as a client relations manager. So wanted to bring that sort of, background, because, a little bit different with everybody else in the program, where I do have the opportunity to meet and engage with a lot of guys. So, I mean, I've been single for many years now, since I got divorced some time ago. And as time went on, and leaving California and living in New York since, I realized that as I succeeded with my professional life, just like all the ladies in this program, over the years, I was thinking I had no one to share my successes and my life with. So again, for some reason, being in this financial environment, I couldn't figure out why I remained single, because I was meeting men and I still was single. So, and even if I did date some guys in the past that were, my type, I ended up with men that eventually left me, who ended up committing with other women after me. So I started thinking, okay, maybe it's really me. There's definitely something wrong with me. And, I joined, I found your program going through Facebook. And, in 2020, just like everybody else, I'd imagine globally, being in COVID environment, we're all going through some kind of internal reflection. So my 2020 was my year of self-discovery and self-assessment. I was going on this journey. And I was in the process of hiring an executive coach professionally. And my executive coach is like, well, I also do love life, personal life. And I said, let me explore, right? So I could have signed up with that coach, and I'm going through Facebook, and here comes Anna. Anna has this webinar. I'm like, who is this magical woman and her magic tricks, right? It's like the wizard of single women. So I listened to your webinar, and I thought, you know what? Okay, I have an executive coach, but first of all, I need a woman. So my executive coach is a man. So I said, I need a woman for my love life and my personal life. And I remembered in your webinar, Anna, you even said something like, why would a masculine man date a super masculine woman? And I said, oh my gosh, that's exactly how that resonated in me, because when I was married, similar to what Natalie experienced and some of what Sonia was saying about paying, etc., I was like, wait a minute, I was the husband and the wife in the marriage. No wonder it didn't work out. So, going back to the whole coaching thing, I realized, Anna coming into my life, her program coming into my life is so coincidental. So, whether I was going to find a therapist in New York or consider Anna's work, and it was a no-brainer. Again, I was at the point in my life, this crossroads that we all kind of come to, and we all decide what chapter is next for us and where should we go in our life. So right then I signed up for the discovery call, and I decided that, investing in Anna for my love life and my personal life was equally as important to me as having an executive coach for my professional life. So that's my story.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And I just want to correct you probably there, Christina, not investing in Anna, but investing in yourself. Right? And I think, Christina, really interesting. Based, I think, on your conversation, because you had a conversation with one of our girls who was on our team. You didn't have your discovery call with me, but I think I actually listened. I might have listened to your call, or because I was doing feedback and training, or the girl who you were on the phone with, which you did a brilliant job, obviously, told me about your story. And I heard that conversation between, I'm looking for an executive coach, and if I'm hiring a coach for my professional life or my business, why can't I approach it the same way into my personal or love life? And I actually wrote an article based on, I can't remember, I mean, definitely your story has contributed to that, but I wrote a whole article about why you need to hire a coach to find a husband or something like that, some flashy headline or whatever. So you've definitely influenced that, because I think you're right. It's so interesting how professionally in our careers and businesses, we're like, yeah, definitely I need to learn from someone who's done it and who can guide me into this. And, it's very popular to do that. But then when we look at our personal life, and obviously life coaching now is extremely popular, but when we look at, let's say, dating or relationships, we kind of tend to think, and in a lot of the cases that's true, but in most it's not. We tend to think that it will just figure itself out, especially with our group. All of us have been told to succeed and go and be independent, never rely on a man, take care of yourself and all of that, which is great. I've been sent that message too, and look where it's gotten us to where we are in our lives, which is amazing. And we've taken advantage of the opportunities that we've been given that our mothers or grandmothers didn't have, obviously. But what they did a lot of the times is we went a little bit overboard, and we brought that masculine energy not overboard in terms of our careers and businesses, because I think there's literally no limit and we should go for it. But what was missed is, like, I remember we had a coaching call, and I don't know if any of you were on that coaching call, where I was coaching a woman, and she like totally broke down in the end, and she was sharing, I thought that if I succeed, or if I do everything that I've been told, I will be happy. I will have everything that I want. And she was crying on the call because that wasn't true. It's like, and I think that a lot of successful women, a lot of, you just get this message of like, go, 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 push, 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 become successful, and your man will come. Like, it's just going to happen. And then, like, look at our program, right? How it's exploding pretty much, where women are getting to that place where they have everything they want. And it seems like the more successful they become, the less happy they are in relationships with men. So that kind of dilemma, it's what has driven me to create this program, actually, because this was a real, I was like, what's going on? It shouldn't be this way. And so anyways, I really appreciate you saying that, Christina, because I think, like relationships and men and all of this is hard if you're not doing this professionally. It took me years to figure this out and put it all together and then do this professionally. So I can only imagine, sometimes I think of all of you women, how you're going through this work, you go into the dating world. It's bloody hard, like going through all of that. As Natalie said, I did not have the words or the framework to put it all together. And especially today, right? Like there's so much advice out there about relationships and men and dating, attachment theories and this and that. And you're a woman who's like, oh my God, I don't know what else to do, So, Anyways, thanks so much, Christina. I just wanted to comment on that. So, ladies, let's move on to, so Christina, you mentioned, so the whole framework of this, and I love that all of you came from Facebook, because Facebook is like the biggest platform there for us to send this message across. Obviously, there's some issues with Facebook with, privacy and everything, but I'm just so grateful for this platform because all of you came through Facebook. And so what I want to talk about next is what really motivated you to sign up. Well, I guess you answered that question in terms of what motivated you to sign up for a discovery call, because, you were in a situation, things were not working, and the message just hit you, that post that hit you, sign up for the webinar. Now, what I'm curious about is what happened on the discovery call. So I think out of all of you, Natalie, your discovery call was with me, right? And then Sonia and Christina, you were with someone on my team. So I'm curious about if you remember. I remember our call, Natalie. Actually, we talked twice. I think we talked first and then we talked in a month or something like that. Yeah, so I'd be curious to hear that story. So what happened on your discovery call and what actually motivated you to sign up for the program? Because, there's that moment where on the discovery call, we ask you, what is your current situation? We ask you a lot of questions to really understand what are you struggling with and whether we can help you, whether the program is really going to be a good fit for you. And then we talk about your desired situation. So just to remind you, all of you went through like an embodiment thing real quick, to just breathe into what you want and what's possible for you. And then after that, we just discuss and you ask us questions about what the program is. And if it sounds like it's a good fit, then we get started. So there is that moment in the call where you say yes. So if you can tell us what happened on the call and then what made you say yes, I think this is going to be really cool for all the women to hear. So let's shuffle it up. Sonia, we'll start with you, and then we'll go with Natalie and then Christina.
So I remember the exact moment. My discovery call was with Barbara, and I think that we went through an embodiment, and I was like, what is this? Am I joining a cult? What? I don't understand. Am I doing this right? And then I was just like, okay, just go with it, be open-minded. And she explained kind of what embodiment is, and she walked me through it. And it was a very uncomfortable feeling. And I remember asking myself, why is something so simple, what she's asking me to do, why am I so resistant to it? So I was pondering that question throughout. And then she started telling me a bit about her own journey and how she's in New York and she's been single in New York for a few years and then where she's at now. So I had very logical, logistic, when did you begin this journey? How did it go? When did you see results? What was the exact time frame? What's the payout? What's the risk, reward, investment? Very cut and dry. And she was just smiling, I remember. And then she started asking me questions about my situation. And I remember that shift. It took me out of that mindset. And then I started thinking about my situation and how I feel in my current situation. And it was just, to me, it was an obvious shift. And I think it was fairly early on in our discovery call that I told her yes. And I can see her face now. She was shocked. She was like, wait, yes? Like, you're going to sign up? I was like, yes. And I remember the exact thing I remember thinking to myself is, 1 year from now, what am I going to regret more? Doing this or not doing this? I can always what's really the opportunity cost, right? So business terms, sorry, not to throw that out there, but if you choose this, what are you giving up essentially? And there's always more money I can make. But there's this time that I have that I can't get back. And if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. And that's what terrified me the most, is being in the exact same situation that I'm in today, a year from now, because something wasn't right. And I didn't know. I sent this exact message to my friend on Facebook, and I have the communication. And I remember telling her, this is me taking a chance on myself. This may not be the answer, but there were some expletives. I don't know if I should say bad words, but I was like, I don't know if this is it, but at least I'm trying something. And a lot of what I read or heard on the webinar resonated so deep with me, and it just shifted beliefs I thought were my core beliefs, that once you started talking about, I was like, wait, I don't actually agree with what I think. So that was ultimately it. And I was talking to a woman who had experienced success through this program. I remember asking her how many women that go through this program actually find success, whatever that might be. And her number was like so high up there. I'm like, okay, so statistically speaking, the risk with this investment is very low. So that was one aspect of it. And then the other aspect was just me being terrified of being in the same spot this time 6 months from now, a year, whatever. So
that's actually such a good framework to have, Sonia. And your discovery call was like what, about 3 months ago? This is when you joined the program?
February 10th.
Yeah, so we're now in May, so that was about 3-4 months ago. And the way you're going about this, and I know now we're in the program, we're like rolling our eyes at how achievement and like how is this going to look like, and I love having these conversations on the roundtable, because I mean, we do work with women who are in businesses and careers, and that's what you do all day. You decide, risk assessment and opportunity costs, and you want to know the numbers, and you're like very strategic, because that's what we used to. We used to make decisions based on facts and numbers, and like, show me the data, show me the proof, all of that. So I love that you bring that up, because a lot of the women listening, they will come into this asking the same questions, and we understand that, we can't dismiss that, because we're so used to that. And this is actually, the discovery call actually is the first place where the transformation happens, where a woman starts to feel something, and she says yes, because of how she feels, and because her reality changes there. Yeah, and I love that question, Sonia. Where are you going to be 1 year from now? And am I going to regret not doing this? And I love that you said, yes, we can make more money, and we can make this and this and that, but this is your opportunity now. Are you going to take it? I always say, are you going to say yes to yourself, and actually do this, and try, to do something different? And here we are, Sonia.
One thing I wanted to add is, I remember telling myself, if you don't do this with what was been told to you, you're actually afraid of things changing. You're not afraid of going through this and nothing changes. You're afraid that you're going to go through this program and you're going to shift perspectives and your life will change. And that was terrifying too. So I had to accept I am ready and open to receive change. And that had to happen for me to say yes.
And so. Sonia, and I'm going to ask Natalie and Christina as well. What have you done before to actually work on this? Have you done
That's
anything?
So funny. Nothing at all. When I came across your post, I'm like, okay, well, let me look at other coaches, because some women in my small support circle have. I was like, no, this is it. It came in front of me for a reason. I'm not going to spend time looking into this. I even to other people today say this program is the closest thing to therapy that I've ever done. And I've had a lot of people tell me, like, hey, you should look into some therapy, just to kind of process life. Everybody should, but nothing. I didn't really look into it. It wasn't a priority of mine. I didn't understand what was to be gained from doing this. You just,
Which is, we do have women who do that, who enroll into the program without doing anything at all. And that's totally, but you don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of women, I'm curious about, Natalie might, or Christina, I don't know, but there's a lot of women who've done a lot and they joined this program, you know. But we do have stories like yours, Sonia, where, and I think this is such a good way. I actually am, you know, quite impressed, Sonia, with your decision making, how you went about this, because we get a lot of women on the calls who overthink this, really, you know, and they're indecisive. Like, it feels right, but she's going to sit there for 3 months and mull over it, you know. And we try to do our best to gently push her into the right direction. But I mean, you know, some women are just not ready. So I love that you share that story. It doesn't mean, you know, it does, joining Claimed doesn't mean that you need to work with a therapist and do 3 other different programs and whatever, which many women have done before they've joined this. But yeah, awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Sonia. We're going to move on to Natalie. So Natalie, tell us, how was your discovery call? Actually, the 2 discovery calls with me. What happened there, and why did you sign up?
So the first discovery call, I was totally resistant. At that point, I remember saying, what preempted the sort of breakdown of my relationship was I developed a crush on a masculine man who I had met at a party when did I meet him? In February 2020. And he and I started to take walks and become friends. And I developed this crush on him, and I told my partner and I told him, and it was this big thing, and it really preempted and I shared with him it was the first male I shared with, possibly the first person, because I was so private about what I was going through in my marriage, that I wanted children, and my husband kind of like wouldn't let me. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, that's what marriage is for. Like, what's going on? And it wasn't that I, you know, fell for him in a deep way, but his masculinity and his support of that really took me. And I remember I shared with Anna that story, and she was like, like, I could see in your face, you're like, I get it. Like, she's like, I know what's going on. And I was like, oh my God, like, she knows something. But it scared me, because at that point I hadn't ended my relationship, and I was so scared to end that relationship. So anything that confronted me with the truth, which was, you need to get out, you need to face the music here and realize that, you know, you're not living your truth, and that's why you're attracted to somebody else. It's not about this guy, like, anything. And that's what Anna did. And she was like very upfront about it. I was like, not ready. And then I did finally end it. And then I don't know what, I think I got a text from you, and I was like, yep, I need to do this. And it was really scary for me, really scary, because I think, similar to Sonia, I was so scared I was almost like arrogant, and I was like so scared of change, and I was so like stubborn and like, no, I know it all. And I had been in therapy, and like I've done self-development work, but in like a very different way. But I really hadn't faced some of these deeper issues around sexuality, around femininity, around desire. And I think I was scared to look in the mirror on that, and that there was a lot of resistance. So I finally said yes, because I knew, similar to Sonia, that like, I didn't know how to navigate this new world by myself. And especially, like, I've never been single. Like, I got married at 23. And before that, I was in college. Like, I've never lived alone. I've always had a man. My first date was right after my breakup with a guy that's actually become a really good friend, who I'm seeing tomorrow and hanging out with. That was my first date, like, in my life. It was after I signed up for Claimed. I was like, all right, I'm doing this. And I was like, I just need support. And so I think it was like a humility moment of, I don't know how to do this, and I need help, and I do want to do this right. And I think I was seeing this guy actually when we had the call, and when I said yes, because I really liked him at that point. And I was like, I want to figure this out. But it was like a humility moment of, I guess, what Christina said of we need a coach to pave the path to the unknown. And for me, dating and finding what I want, which is a family and a man who can provide for me, I had, and I still am learning, like really no idea how to get there because my father passed away when I was young. Like I didn't have an example of that. So yeah, it was just like that moment of like, yep, don't know how to do this, need help. I'm ready. But it took a while. Like it took a while for me to like humble myself to that. Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, the journey, it's so interesting. The journey in the program is not linear, right? For a lot, like all of your stories are different. And the journey to the program is also not linear. So we do have, Natalie, quite a few women who kind of experience the same thing. You know, they jump on a call, they might not be ready right away. And there, of course, we prefer to guide a woman to say yes, you know, to herself and all that. We hold space, but sometimes you're just not. And then a month passes, sometimes 3 months pass, and then you know that you're ready. So, yeah. And I was in a very similar situation to you, Natalie. Obviously, I wasn't married, but I was in 2 long-term relationships, really, from one relationship to another. I didn't know how to date. I didn't know how anything worked. And I had to navigate all of this. And this is what led me to this research about polarity and all of this stuff that we now do in the program. So, yeah, and we do have a lot of women in the program who actually have been in marriages similar. You know, we're talking sometimes 20 years. And it's like she's getting out of that. So we actually have a lot of women now who are going through divorce, separation, where they see now, you know, the foundation. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that contribute to the marriage not working, but one of the biggest factors was that woman is just so tired. You know, she doesn't want to be the husband and the wife anymore, or actually just the husband probably, you know, and then she wants to do things differently and she doesn't know how, and she wants to not make the same mistakes and really attract what she wants. And so she enters this journey to really learn a new way and embody a new way. So your story is also very similar to a lot of women in the program, Natalie. Thank you. All right, Christina, tell us how was your discovery call, and why did you? And oh yeah, Natalie said she's done a lot of other things, but this was different. And so, Natalie, we're going to talk to you specifically about how is this different. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But Christina, yeah, tell us how your discovery call was and why did you sign up?
Yeah, sure. The only thing that I can remember that has lasted, and I think this is what I think you made a similar comment, Anna, when I had my one-on-one with you. It was just waterworks. So just a little bit of background on myself. I cry pretty easily because I just get overwhelmed, whether I'm frustrated, sad, anything, right? So when I had my discovery call with one of Anna's team members, it was just gushing. I felt like it was just a lot of, I felt like I held up gallons of water in me. So my favorite from the program is frozen tension, and I think I held up an iceberg probably. So it was a Saturday afternoon. I'll never forget it. I'm thinking to myself, why am I telling this total stranger? She's not even a girlfriend. Why am I telling her my life? And yeah, she walked me through the embodiment exercise, and I'm like, this is so bizarre. Nothing, am I supposed to just keep one eye closed and the other open, like just to see what she's doing? And it was such a bizarre Saturday afternoon, but I was like, okay, I'll just give it a chance and you know, really just listen to her voice. Her voice, just like Anna's, was so, there was something that was so open that allowed me to open up to a complete stranger. And you know, she was a runner just like me, so I was expressing to her that I've always felt so much love inside me, and I love, you know, sharing, and I'm so generous with my friends and family, and you know, even to some of the men I've met, and I could totally relate to what Sonia's saying, that you know, you want to provide, you want to share, and you know, for some reason I have so much to give, but, you know, and I want to have that life, and I want to have that experience. And so, and I wanted to be with someone, with a man in my life. I mean, I was, with my ex, it just seems so ages ago. And I'm like, how come it's taking me so long to find someone? So in any case, I wanted to feel love again, really. And I've realized, just like what Natalie was saying, I can't do this by myself. Like, I'm not an expert at love, nor are my friends, right? Because you could always rely on girlfriends and, your best friend, your cousin, your, mentor, let's just say. But it's so different because everybody has different experiences. And, at some point, actually, I was definitely sort of turned off by some of the women in my network before being in this community. And there was so much, I don't know how it is for the rest of the women, but for a little while, most of the single women I was here was so competitive. In Manhattan, it's so competitive. It's like, instead of sort of holding each other up and having that support, I didn't have that. I have a gay best friend, and he's the closest that I could have as a girlfriend. And it's different, right? It's different. You can chit chatter about all the fun things, but you just don't have that sort of inner feminine sort of sharing and that moment, that experience. So yeah, right there and then after my discovery call, I said, this is worth it. I thought about it, why would I sign up? I thought about it. I said, okay, cost. And same as Sonia, we're like, you're breaking it down. And I'm like, oh my God, this is an investment, right? And then I was thinking about it. So I go on vacations for myself every year. And 2020, we were all at home. So I figured, you know what? This is my reward to myself. This is my, vacation that I can, it's my life experience investment that I wanted to make. And I have to admit, it's worth every penny. I'm not a salesperson, nor do I work for Anna. So, and what my favorite is that it's a lifetime membership and community. And I must admit, meeting all the women in this community, I have never felt so connected with such beautiful, strong, supportive women in a positive light. So it's, God bless for this community, because I feel very supported. Definitely worth my every investment. If I were to get approached again, I would say yes. And if I could shout at the top of wherever, or Chrysler Building, let's just say, or whatever mountain, it's just so worth it. And I feel so much different. So the rewards is tenfold than my initial investment is what I have to say. So I hope that answered. And I didn't have, the whole concept of therapy, Anna, was not something that's embraced in my culture, right? Being an Asian American, it's not something that, sometimes it could be sort of, like, why would you go to a therapist? It's something wrong with you, but I realized I need help. I need help from somebody who doesn't need to learn about the stories, right? Like you always tell us, Anna, like the narrative. And I needed help from somebody who had that perspective, and from a community of such amazing, various, diverse, non-linear community. So
yeah, beautiful, Christina. And yes, Christina doesn't work for me, so she's not here to sell the program to you all. Which, might change in the future, Christina, because my team is always growing. And, on our team, we actually have 2 women who've gone through the program. One now is a coach, and the other one is on calls. Sonia, you had a call with Barbara. So, and well, thank you for saying that, because, this is not a small investment. And I just want to put it out there. This is not a $500 program. And a lot of the times we have to have that very tough conversation with a woman. For some women, it's like a no-brainer, right? For a lot of them, it's like, yeah, maybe out of my comfort zone, but I can do this. But for some women, this is actually the first time ever in their life that they have put that kind of an investment into themselves. So that in itself is a journey. Like, that's why I'm saying the discovery call is the beginning of a total transformation. Because when I talk to women for whom especially they've never invested in anything like this before in this level, I say, look, this is going to be a total up level. You're going to be plugged out of your reality. And Christina, to your point about our girlfriends and the women who surround us, if we really think about it, and to everybody listening, I invite you all to kind of ask yourself, because when we're in the program, we talk about what influences your reality and your belief system about men, right? And it's obviously, we give you all the tools and help you out with excavating what's at the bottom of this. But it's also the current surroundings and the culture and the media and everything that's happening today, right? So you kind of have to take a step back and look at, who are the 5 girlfriends? Who are the 5 women that surround you? What kind of relationships surround you today? And what are you seeing around you? And chances are that a lot of the times, the women who you're with who are also single, and I love that you're saying, Christina, your perspective here from New York. We talk to so many women in New York. I think the biggest cluster community is in Manhattan and in New York because of all these reasons. But it is that, the more women are in their masculine energy and in their head and competition, everything, they bring all of that not only to the men, and that obviously doesn't, they bring that into their friendships with other women, which is so destructive. And if you look at your 5 girlfriends or who you're surrounded, chances are that they're in the same exact situation pretty much, or they are married or in a relationship with a man where things are not really working that well. And you might have 1 or 2 that things are working well, but I think that in my experience, it was rare that, you're really, really close to them or they're far away or whatever. So with this investment and with this experience, you're literally getting so much out of your comfort zone, getting plugged out of your current reality. Like, if you want to experience a different reality of men, I always say you're going to be in a community of women, first of all, the coaching team who have experienced results and believe in a world of great, amazing men. And you're going to be together with women who are on the same path and the same journey. And a lot of women that we see, they actually wake up and they look around. They're like, I'm like, what is this? I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Who are these girlfriends? Who are these neighbors? What is this? What is this job that I'm working at? It's like, it's so interesting. And that requires, that's not not to say that, if you get into a program that's $500, that's still a lot of money, for a lot of people. Not to say that that's not going to work, but the level of investment is like a catapult. It's going to catapult you into a different reality. And I can say that so openly because I've continuously throughout, especially the last year, have invested in myself and this work and everything. And it's like growing exponentially. And it's really investing in yourself, as you said, Christina. And then you mentioned vacation. And when women say vacation, well, I don't know if I can compare. You said, this is my vacation. I'm not sure it's been a vacation for you, Christina. Because, this journey is not all like margaritas and by the beach or like easy breezy, You're not going to relax here. You're going to have a massive transformation you're going to enjoy. But this is not linear again. And it's going to be challenging some of the time. You're going to have to face some of the deeper issues and beliefs that are not going to be comfortable, because I'm not here for comfortable. If you, like Sonia said, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to see the same results. So if you want to see something different, that requires deep work and introspection and all of that. So thank you, Christina, for sharing that. And I'm so proud of the community that we created of women, like I'm blown away every day by the women who are joining us almost every day, and by the support and by what we have created. And this is really the future. Women are just so beautiful and amazing. And I just interviewed actually Steph yesterday. We talked about behind the scenes in the program, so it's going to be released soon. And she was telling me what a privilege it is to be guiding this community and to be, building this community in this way, because this is if women want to be building this world together with amazing men, we need that tribe, and we're just so disconnected from each other. But that's what actually fulfills us. Women for thousands of years, we've grown up children together, we've gathered food together, and we sang together, and that's what we need to do together. So yeah, I'm so proud of our community. And you're right, Christina, for a lot of women, this is their support circle. I know you guys are meeting around the US, and hopefully next year we're actually going to meet in person at an event or something. So let's shift gears. Let's stay with Christina. I just have 2 more questions for all of you, and we'll just continue with Christina. So I'm curious for all of you, actually, and we'll start with Christina. I'm curious to hear 1 or 2 major aha moments that happened for you in the program, and what is the result of the work that you have been doing in the program. So what's different for you now? And again, the journey is very different, and I'm actually, and we all know that the goal of the program, or the result of the program, is not that you are going to be in a relationship, right? None of you are. Maybe one of you is very close to being there, but I've warned her to stay grounded and continue doing her flow, right? So, and with this work, my goal is actually not to get you into a relationship or married or engaged, because, Natalie is going through a separation. Christina, you've been divorced. The marriage or the relationship is not actually the goal, because we can get into a relationship like that, especially with a feminine man, but do we want that? It's really about the quality of the relationship for me, like what kind of a man you're going to end up with. What are your choices there? How do you feel? What are your boundaries? And what are the tools that you can have for life so that you can build polarity from the start right, and so you can sustain that long term? Because I'm married to a man, happily married to a masculine man, have a family, and I still use these tools every day. So that's why I think it's beautiful. You're here obviously, a lot of women have had success and have found their men, and, all of that. And I'm sure this is coming for all of you, It's just the timeline is very different for every single woman. Every woman is so unique, and her journey is so individual. And that's why, we do offer lifetime access to the program, because I know that it's not for some women in 10 weeks, boom, done, but for a lot of women, it's not like that. But what I do focus on is that a woman knows herself, knows what she wants, knows how to embody her feminine, set her boundaries. And so she's doing this in the right way from the beginning, so that on long term, she knows how to sustain that polarity. So she doesn't wake up 20 years later and being like, oh my God, I just wasted 20 years of my life on a man that I was his mother, another child. So yeah, Christina, let's start with what were some of your biggest aha moments, and what is the result of how do you feel today, and what you've seen happen in your life?
Yeah, sure, Anna. So aha moments, oh my goodness, I think so many, right? I think within the community, there's just so many. It's like waking up, there's another one. But I'm going to put mine as I thought about this last night, common themes, right? And it's funny because it's perfect timing, because I just I had a doctor's checkup yesterday, and my doctor goes, Christina, something's going on with you. Like, what are you doing? I said, I've been eating more vegetables. He's like, no. Like something is going on. What is going on here? So the 2 common themes is really, for me, that's part of my aha moment, is my mindfulness and awareness. And I think that's one. And I think that has something to do with the embodiment that you've been teaching us, and embracing my emotions. So those are the 2. So mindfulness awareness, because I'm somebody who was too much in my head, and I think of one thing and I do something different. So when I go to bed, there's so much in my head thinking about, like, oh, that guy, or I didn't do it this way, or I didn't handle the situation that way. And so sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and realizing, oh my God, I'm thinking too much. I'm overthinking things for work, for family, for everybody else, but not for me. And, and over time, I was so busy in my head, I've forgotten to embrace and bring up my feminine essence, the little girl in me, the fun girl, the one who loved colors and beauty, and to Anna's point, being the flow in life. And I forgot about that person, and I didn't realize we all have that. I had it when I was in my 20s, and for some reason I just neglected her because I had so much to take care of, and because of the embodiment exercises you taught us daily, and it's definitely I was able to bring her back up, and now we're aligned because whatever I think in my brain is what I do in my actions. I did a flow this morning and I literally just shook my entire body because I knew that there was so much love in my head that I wanted it to be part of my body, that it would be part of my essence. So that's definitely probably my biggest aha moment. And, you know, and to embody that I deserve the love, that I need to bring out the inner confidence that people have been seeing in me, that for some reason I haven't been acknowledging myself, you know, which is kind of weird, right? So that's what I'm thinking about. You know, I'm focused on the mindfulness and awareness that, you know, thinking that you are confident and feeling you are confident is one big change that I've experienced since I joined your program. I mean, I signed up in August. I know, Anna, to your point, some people have different journeys and how quick it could be. And I'm one of those that really want to embrace every single step throughout it. So that's my first aha moment. My second one is, you know, embracing my emotions and that radical responsibility that you always share with us. I've always thought I'm going to be, you know, I don't want to face the consequences. I don't want to hear the negative. I only want to see the positive. But I've realized through what you've taught us, these tools, is it's okay to have that negative and to sit with it. And it's okay to experience it because on the other side is always a good thing. So one, you know, I haven't shared this in the Facebook group yet, but, you know, I realized that I've been looking for validation and acknowledgement from my parents when I was little, that it's carried over now that I'm older. And I guess I didn't realize this, that waiting for validation from men and acknowledging their, you know, that they want to be with me was driving me to be so anxious about time and control and being impatient. And I just realized, you know, the validation from my parents that I was yearning for has nothing to do with who I am and what I should be deserving. So, you know, for the longest time, I'm so impatient. Time and control was my enemy. And all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, that it's getting things out of your head and using time and control as your partner and your tool through life actually made me a better person. And overall, it's really self-discovery, Anna, and I feel so much lighter. I feel like I shed like pounds since I joined your program, and all that releasing tension, that frozen tension, I held it so much internally for whom, right? Why was I carrying it this whole time? And so again, you know, I've become a better Christina. I'm Christina 2.0. Like I said, my doctor, my doorman, it's like, wow, it's easier to be engaging with Christina. And I guess I probably was embodying the opposite and that's probably why men weren't coming to me. So those are my two big aha moments. And I'm very grateful for all the tools that this community, or what you've taught us and what the community has fostered. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love that, you know, we're talking here about a program that promises that you're going to start to attract different types of men. And you totally went into mindfulness and awareness and embracing my emotions. And, you know, because I mean, this journey is not about men. This is about you, right? And I feel like that's one of the unique points of how this is very different, because, you know, the philosophy of this program is really, when you embody who you are and your feminine flavor, and of course there's some mental frameworks and things that we teach, then everything just flows and the men will come, as you said, Christina, because you know who you are and you're not bogged down by, you know, thoughts, overthinking and all of that. It's such a different life. And I always say, what a gift to give to men, you know, when we meet them. What a refreshing experience when a man goes out on a date with a woman like that, who's not in her head, who's not overthinking, who doesn't have a checklist to bring with her, but she's just there, she's herself. What a gift. And from that place, we are going to all attract the men that we want. So last question for you, Christina. But what about the men? I'm still curious about the men. What have you noticed in terms of differences and things? And I know, obviously we're all in our journeys, as I said, but what have you noticed there?
It's, I'm still dating. I'm building. I'm telling a lot of my friends, I'm building a funnel. They're like, what is this funnel that you keep talking about? And so, I've opened up myself to different ways of meeting men as I'm building my funnel. Some I've revisited, a man that I've met before, and I'm not so concerned about like, where is this going? And he's actually making the effort. I've been in a situation where Sonia was just saying, where there's, I met a guy who's just, sort of really doing the right things, and it's so easy for us to sort of fall into that path. But I remembered, Anna, you wrote something on Facebook, and I'm like, yep, build the funnel. So, I keep it as full as I possibly could, whether it's online, in person, at work. And, virtually, it's kind of interesting because how do you really attract somebody virtually? But it seems supposedly my voice is embodying this energy that you've obviously instilled in us. So, I'm still dating, not really rushing into anything. And, I'm embracing, having fun with these different guys. And, now that New York is opening up and we're all vaccinated, I can't wait to see what summer brings. But yeah, it's constant communication and engagement. So that's where I stand.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. All right, moving on to Natalie. Natalie, what were your aha moments? And you're still on your journey, obviously, and I've been watching you and your journey. It's been quite insightful, to be guiding you through this and watching your journey. And obviously, again, we know that you are coming out, or you have been coming out of a long marriage. So again, every woman's journey is different. But I'm curious about your aha moments and the results that you've seen so far within yourself, but also with men.
So I think the biggest aha moment was the mirror concept. This idea of men as mirrors has like changed my life. Not only men, but everything in life as being a complete mirror of our own consciousness. And I've seen that, and that kind of ties into the results. Like, it's so funny. I've only been separated from my partner for 4 months, and we were together 10 years. So I didn't get into this program, wanting to be in a relationship right away. I'm giving myself 6 months of just freely dating. No, I get anxious about it sometimes when I'm like, no, you need 6 months, like, relax. So people keep saying, they're like, I can't believe the quality of the men that you're attracting. And it's hard for me to actually see that because I am going through a grieving process of an end of a very deep and, I lost my best friend in so many ways. He wasn't my husband, he was my best friend, but, that grieving process. But in that, I've been attracting through dating, amazing guys like doctors and lawyers and guys of very high caliber. And everyone in my life has been like, I can't believe, your dating success. And I'm like, what success? Like, these are all very fleeting. But from the outside, to come out of a relationship and be able to hold my own and hold my integrity with these new dating experiences after being in a long-term relationship is pretty impressive. And, I had to acknowledge myself today. I was like, you've done pretty good coming out of a long-term thing. And so the biggest aha moments, it's like every time I make a leap in my consciousness and my awareness, the next guy that comes into my path is of a higher caliber, is like, a better provider, a more conscious person, a kinder person. And I'm still like, I guess I've dated since the breakup, probably 4 people, on and off, and have really, the last guy, I was really able to hold my boundaries, and I felt so good. Like I was able to realize that he wasn't the guy for me, and that I didn't need to run after him, and that's okay. And I spent, 5 years of the last years of my relationship running after potential that my partner could be. You could be this, and therefore I'm going to run after that. I'm going to do everything I can to chase potential and to ignore the reality of what was in front of me. And I think with this last guy, even though he's a great man and he kind of did all the things, I just was like, you're not it. Like, and because it was just not the man that I wanted. And it was very clear. And that clarity was such an aha moment. And it was so empowering to say no. I was just like very clearly to him, very kind. I'm like, thank you, but it just isn't for me. And that was also a huge aha moment, the empowerment of saying no, and to be able to know what my yes is and know what my no is. And now I posted a lot the last 2 days because I went through this low moment yesterday of like, oh my God, like I'm still single. I'm like, I'm still single. I've been out of a relationship for 4 months. And like I told my mom, she's like, relax, like shut up and relax. She's like, if you were in a relationship right now, I'd be worried about you. And so, but then this morning I did this flow, and it was so amazing to have, I shared on the group, like to have that and to then come out of that. And then I think, Sonia, you posted, and it really was so powerful to envision what you truly want. And that's so important for women to like not settle. Like, don't say yes to a guy just because he's, nice to you, like, and because he wants a family. Like, don't say yes to that. And that would have been, I think, if I didn't do this program, my weakness. The first guy that was nice to me, that wanted a family, that was making a 6-figure salary, I would probably say yes to, because that was what my partner wasn't. But that's not all that I want. I want to be fulfilled. I want my soul to feel connected. I want love. And that's what I'm seeking. And to really embody that truth and know in my heart that that person is there for me and he's coming, and so like I'm still dating, and I have like on my phone, like I have a lot of guys that like I'm texting and seeing and like whatever, but nobody I'm super serious about, because I know what I want and I haven't met him yet. But just knowing that, like, I just like feel him. It's weird. And I did that letter that you mentioned, Anna, and Sonia, you also said in the post. So I did that this morning. I like wrote a letter to him, and like I can like feel who he is and feel his presence. And so there's this calmness, and I can still date and like flirt with these guys and whatever, but like I'll know him when I see him. And that is just this amazing sense of knowing yourself. And that is like the mirror. So like the more I know myself, the more clear I am within. That's what's going to attract. It's not outside. That's like the aha moment. So yeah.
Yeah, wow, so many beautiful revelations, Natalie. Thank you. And that's the work that we do in the program in terms of magnetizing your masculine man. There's a whole practice and an audio about that. I'm not sure if you're there yet, but there's like a whole thing there and a playlist for you to really call in and embody that. But you're right. Like I saw your post there, and I saw Sonia's comment. Write him a letter, because I did write him a letter. I wrote him a letter about a year before I met him, and it's on the internet. It's on Medium, and it's called "He's Already Here." And so we always talk about, we always emphasize on the feeling. Like I love that you said, how does it feel to be with this man, and how can we focus on that? Because not, nothing else matters really. So if you're clear about how you want to feel with a man, and not just some sort of a checklist, yeah, he wants a family, he's nice to me, like, all right, I'm going to settle for that. But it's just really stepping into that possibility of how you want to feel. And then every man that comes into your life, it's your real checklist, I guess, is really against that. Are you feeling the way you want to feel with this man or not? And then deciding on that, really, that is your decision. So I love that you wrote the letter to him, Natalie. If you feel called to, I'd love to read it in our group, because that's really, really powerful. And a year later, when I met him, I was like, wow, like this is him. And I tell this story a lot. Like I went to his apartment after we were engaged. I think we came to Australia, and I went to his house where his parents were, and I look at his bookshelf and I see the Way of the Superior Man by David Data book. And I was like, wow. And then I opened that book, and then I see that he's highlighted chapters in it, and and I didn't know he's done a lot of work on himself, but I feel like, and we talk about this a lot in the program, as in like men, women have this, I believe, perhaps a false idea that they want a man who's like spiritual and embodied and who does yoga a lot.
That was my ex. You don't want that. I'll tell you guys right now. My ex is a spiritual teacher, coach, the sweetest, kindest, most wise person. Not the same as a provider.
Not to say, Natalie, that a man like that can't be full in his masculine, but I always tell women, you got to be careful with all of that. A man who does a lot of work on himself tends to be a lot in his feminine, and that's not very attractive. Like my man, I found out that he went to all of Tony Robbins' events and really, did stuff. And, Tony Robbins, his only experience with embodiment is the 5 rhythm dances during the event. And that's what he thinks we're doing here in this program, But, and he was very different to what I have envisioned, because what I've envisioned is this lumberjack with a beard and and then here comes this guy, bald, wearing flip-flops, and like, who are you? So we always talk about how can we focus on the feeling of it, because when he arrived, and there was a time that I had to give him to really show up, I was like, oh, this feels right and this feels good. So I love that. What I also love, Natalie, is what you share is very common that we see in the program. As women go through this experience, every man that you meet, first of all, is your teacher. And once you go through the program, your dating life becomes like a gym. And I always say, it's like you're building that muscle, and every man is a teacher, right? And so how can we learn from this? What is my learning here? And really getting out of your head and out of your story when you're dating these guys, and looking at the dynamics there, what's in the program, how does it work, asking questions. And every man is going to just become better and better and better because you're going through this experience. And one other thing, and I'm going to ask you, Natalie, to perhaps share a story with us. I want to hear at least one story from all of you, because I think, when women listen, like, we all love stories. The potential, as you said, I think this is so important, the mistake that I've done. And what our philosophy in the program is, if you're going to settle for a guy, do not settle for his potential that might be realized one day or might be not. If you're going to settle for a guy and say yes, then settle for a man right now. The question is, and I have this in the program, it's like, are you ready to be with this particular man right now as he is? Imagine nothing changes. Are you ready to say yes and be with him for the rest of your life? So you're not marrying his potential, which a lot of us are doing, and I've done this before, but you're really marrying or entering in a relationship with a man who is just like as he is right now. Because the saying is, and I can't remember who said that, it's, women always expect men to change, but men always expect women to stay the same. And we both do completely opposite things. Women change after they get into the relationship because they get settled down in their head, whatever. And men do not change because it's like, well, you got me, this is what I've got, And it's like, and the pressure, imagine the pressure that men feel as they get into a relationship from their women who it's like right from the beginning, the woman is expecting you to be something else that you're not, and one day reach that potential. So I love that. Thanks so much, Natalie. Do you have a story for us in terms of?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I do. It was so funny. So the last guy who I dated, we're still friends. He's not like somebody I want to be serious with. But anyway, the first date, he planned this like huge adventure for us. And it was this like 13-mile bike ride. And he took us up this mountain. It was crazy. So we get on the bikes. And of course, the first thing we start talking about is masculine and feminine. And he had just read David Data's book. I was like, oh my God, like, this is insane. It was just one of those moments you're like, I am truly like magnetizing exactly what I need to guide me in this journey. And he's actually become, such a teacher for me, this last person, and really shown me like his own struggle with his masculinity, and his vulnerability about that, which is why I realized I was like, nope, not my person. But he's still on his journey. I wouldn't have been able to see that and hold the space for him if I wasn't in this program, and to understand the male journey. And he said to me, and this is something every guy I've dated has said to me, is like, I've gotten just such amazing feedback. Like every guy I've dated like wants to like be like know me forever. It's like ridiculous. I can't get rid of them. And it's like, it's so funny. And we had this like very deep conversation as we sort of decided not to be sexual. And he texted me after and he was like, I've never been so honest with anybody in my life. Thank you so much for creating the space to make me feel comfortable and safe. And I was like, and it was just such a beautiful moment of feeling compassion for the male journey and knowing how to hold space without taking it personally, without being defensive or anything like that. And that was so different from how I used to be. I couldn't hold that space for my ex because I was always demanding from him to be different. But to be able to see a man for who he was, and even though it was like, thank you, I don't want to be with you, but I still can have love for you and who you are, and his own discovery and reading David Data's work and everything. It was really a beautiful moment. And yeah, and I gave him this book and I wrote an inscription just like telling him how like grateful I was for him. And that like just one thing I want to say about this program is you do start to also really feel for men in a deep way that is not just about men as, partners or husbands or whatever, but like kind of like as your like brotherhood, like that these are humans that have their journeys and that we as women have a role to play in the male journey. And the male journey globally, the masculine journey is not being supported. And women are not helping the problem. And so I think what this has taught me, and in my work, I work with a lot of men, and it's really helped me in my work too. A lot of my patients like to really understand and feel a lot of empathy for what men go through. So yes, there's a lot, but it's really been amazing in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you share that. And a lot of women say this is their biggest aha moment as well, because we're not educated on that. And I hear, a lot of women see my content, my work, and go on a total tangent and on a total bitch fest about it. And, I can see how this message can be very controversial, right? But then one of the kind of the most often comments I hear is like, we're doing the work, and where are the men doing the work? It's all about, what about the guys doing the work? Because I'm doing the work, and like, yeah, that's not the way to go about this, because what you shared in the story, Natalie, is so beautiful, because we always say radical responsibility, and it all starts with you. If you do your work and you're open to exploring and becoming curious, the men will open up, and the men will tell you their struggles. And that's my journey into all of this work, was actually just interviewing men, and researching and diving into books and really understanding that masculine journey that women just don't have a clue. All they see is stories of toxic masculinity, and they react to that, not understanding what's actually happening deep down inside. And it's always, there's two sides to the coin. And so if we want to change the world and, see better men, it all starts with us. And so that is the only path that I know of to transformation and to seeing what we want to see in the world. Because if you do it the other way, then you're going to be struggling for a long time, and it's probably not going to get you anywhere. So thanks so much, Natalie. That was great. Before I move to Sonia, she's going to be our last one, and then I have one final question. We're going to wrap up. Christina, do you have a story for us? I forgot to ask you.
Not recently, to be honest. I think, not from the men that I've met so far. Probably friends and those other men that are in their marriages and are going through this sort of transformation. I have a really good friend of mine who's going through a divorce, unfortunately, and I had to I actually sent him the David Data book. and I said, this might help you. I don't really have a specific example, but it's probably the closest that I could probably relate to what Natalie was sharing with regards to their journey.
Cool. No worries. Thanks so much. All right, Sonia, your turn. I'd love to hear from you. What were your aha moments as you went through this journey in the program, and also what were the results that you've seen? And I think you've been the most recent one. I mean, you've been in the program for 3 months, Natalie 4, and then Christina has been with us, for quite a few months. So yeah, Sonia, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So Anna, I'm not sure if you remember the survey that I filled out. I don't even know how long ago it was.
I do remember that survey.
Oh my gosh. So I'm not exactly sure everything that I wrote, but I think I was in the program for a month, maybe a month and a half. And I remember writing stuff. And even as I was writing, I was like, no, you need one-on-one calls, this and that. And I have to admit, I read Anna's response, because she did respond to it. And I remember reading it and thinking, wow, this woman is so honest and blunt. And God damn it, she just called me on my shit. I don't know if I can curse, but that's exactly what I thought, because your response was so pleasant, but it was very candid, and it said, here's what you need to do. You need to actually do the program. And when you're on these calls, I think you mentioned that I was attending them regularly. You told me, take up space. And those words really resonated with me, because I would always, I never entered this program to really find a man or anything like that. I wanted to learn more about polarity. And more than anything else, this program has changed my relationship with women. And that has really enriched my life so much. I have met the most amazing women since joining this program. And I'm not even referring to our support group. I'm not even referring to the group that we have that I've met through you. I've met women on dates I've went on that were not that great of dates, but I've met women that are now one of my closest friends. So
just to interrupt you there, Sonia, for a moment, so that everybody has clarity on the situation. So it's a group coaching program. So everything we do is within a group setting, have group coaching calls. We have a Facebook community. There's a program. We sometimes do offer, one-on-one sessions, which are really just bonuses, and they're very, very few. And that's really not part of the actual main container, but we do give them away because it provides this really nice touch and everything. And Sonia's feedback was kind of she wrote that feedback mid-program, was saying, I need more one-on-one with Anna, because when I asked how could we make this better for you, and Sonia was like, I need more one-on-one with Anna. And then I was like, right, we're gonna set this straight. And then I emailed you back, and based on that, Sonia, and I was like, I know you might have felt a little bit bad or put on the spot, but I recorded, you're not the only one. This is actually, Sonia, and why I did the video and why I emailed you is because this is actually one of the most common requests for a very good reason. You know, you enter a group coaching program, you have all these tools, but of course you're going to want one-on-one and with Anna, you know, because like that's the best thing you're going to get, but that's not what this is about. And so I actually recorded a whole video. Now there's an email that as soon as you enroll, you know, a few weeks, you're going to get it with a video to that, where I was very clear that a lot of women say, I want more one-on-one, number one, and then with Anna. And I'm like, number one, this is not about Anna. You know, Anna is just here, another woman. I'm the creator and founder of the program, not about me. So just take me out of the picture because this is about the work. And then Sonia, yes, take up space. You've got so many tools and you've got so many resources. And, you know, if you're telling me you need more time or more support, and I'm seeing you on the calls, not asking questions, not showing up in the Facebook group, and you were kind of out. But then after that email, like, thank you, Sonia, because you really started showing up and taking up space. And a lot of women really, as they enter, and look, I understand. As soon as you joined this program, especially now, you know, Christina, when you joined, I think the group was like half the size, you know. So now you enter and you might be very overwhelmed by the group and by the size of the group and how many women are on the call and everything. And I always say, look, this is not about that, right? And there's something actually in that where you are being vulnerable with the group, and the group is a group of women who are here to do the work, is holding space for you. And I know, Sonia, we've had a few things on group coaching sessions, and it's so beautiful when you just come and you witness a woman in her breakdown, you know, in her story, in her darkness, and you're like, oh my God, because most of us, I think, have not even seen that in real life, because people, like, women don't get vulnerable, you know. We're like having this defense wall and like, I can do it all and blah, blah, and, you know, and the work is about that. So the group sessions are extremely powerful for that reason. And I'm like, take up space. I understand this might be uncomfortable. Take it slow. But we're here for you 150%. And actually, the biggest work is going to happen in the group. So how can you show up? How can you take up space? And then, Sonia, you started taking space. I remember, like, you were asking questions on every call. And I'm like, all right, this woman has got a hold of this, and something's going to happen. And so, yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No worries. That was the exact shift, because I mean, I don't know if, Anna, you were going for subtlety, but Anna responded to my email, and then she posted a video right after stating, it's not about me, it's about the work. I'm like, okay, I see some indication to this might be about what I've said. And I loved it, because I was like, okay, I need to take up space. And then I thought about it and I responded, and I realized I don't take up space. Why? Because I'm assuming women will judge me. So, Anna, it was you that mentioned, why do you think that? Let's dive in deeper. And you said it's because you're judging yourself. And the moment that I let that go, I realized there was so much acceptance around me, and it became so much easier to take up space. And I did have like an F it moment. I'm going to take up space on this call. Let's see what happens. And that's really my moment, you know, that one of my aha moments. But the other ones that I wrote down are, I was waiting for a guy, a man that would have this kind of push and pull, resistance, kind of struggle love type situation with me, in which I would have this cathartic release, and then all of this stuff that I've went through in life that I've just kept frozen, and just really to myself, I would then let go and include him in my pain. That's how in my mind I'd created the story of how finding the one would go. I don't know if anyone can empathize with that at all, but the moment that I went through module 2, which I was in module 2 for module 2 and I are very familiar. But when I went through that, it made me realize that that cathartic moment needs to be had internally with myself, because that release and that support and that acceptance and self-love, I have it in me to provide that for myself. And Lord, did that change everything, because now I'm no longer burdening whomever it is that I meet because I have so much baggage or whatever it is. We're now on an equal footing because I've accepted and embraced myself. And then now I can meet him and have him accept me, and vice versa. So that was one. The other one was just learning my intrinsic value without the titles, without how much my net worth is, without how much I make a year, without how much I do for people, my own self-worth. What is it contingent upon? And this is something that really, I still am working towards embodying, because I think this is something every woman should work on every day. But learning that I don't have to keep hustling and struggling or pushing in my career, because if not, no one will love me. That was monumental, because then I knew that anytime anyone's doing anything for me, it's because of me, it's because they like who I am, because I was very bad at receiving. Because anytime someone gave me something, I'm like, okay, what do you want from me in return? If I've been out with you for 3 dates, does that mean I need to sleep with you now? Because all of these common themes and stuff that you see in like media and all that. And then the last thing that I will mention is a game changer. Without this, I feel like none of it would have mattered, because it's not really sincere. But I had to attempt at least to become comfortable with vulnerability. And the way that I attempted to do this is, you hear vulnerability. Without vulnerability, you can't be courageous. And I always heard that, but I never knew what it meant. And it wasn't by being vulnerable that I realized its power. It was actually watching other women in our group be so vulnerable with their stories, their trauma, their past. They're just very naked in every sense, all armor laid down. And I immediately was like, I respect, I'm impressed by this woman. I wish I had that kind of courage. And then eventually I took a step back and I'm like, what is it that I'm impressed by? And it was their ability to be vulnerable. And then I asked myself, if I feel this way about her being vulnerable, if I were to be vulnerable, would other women feel this way about me? And if that is the truth, then that means it's okay for me to do it. Because when I'm being vulnerable, I feel like women are going to judge me. They're going to think less of me. They're going to think the worst of worst. But then I had to ask myself, I don't do that when I see other women share their pain. I don't do that when I see other women talk about their journey. So why do I expect other women would do that to me? And then I didn't really believe it. I was like, all right, let me try it a little bit. And I posted something that required a little bit of vulnerability. And it was an outpour of support. It was an outpour of, oh, this happened to me too. This is how I felt. I'm here for you. I'm holding space for you. And I was just like, this is pretty cool. I felt lighter. I felt like I could share. And this is stuff that this isn't a Tractor CMM program. Honestly, to me, it isn't. But had you marketed this as, this is a program to help you embody your true self-worth and love yourself, I would have looked at it 3 months, 4 months ago, like, this is bullshit. I don't have time for this. There is no ROI, return on investment for this. You can't quantify it, which is why I'm so happy that was like the catchphrase. But that's not what I am seeking from this, So which brings me to my second answer. The question was, what is it? Where are you at with men? I think that's the second. So Natalie said something that really resonated with me, but I wanted to change it a bit. Like, I'll know him, not when I see him, but I'll know him when I feel him. Because Camilla, I had a call with her, and for the first time ever, she asked me, she was like, envision the perfect man, your perfect man in your mind standing next to you. And I said, okay. And then she said, how do you feel around him? And I was like, wow, I've never thought that. I've never been there. I don't even know. But I had to put myself in that situation then. And because I felt that, even though that feeling wasn't anything I've actually ever felt before, now I believe in it. And that's kind of what my comment to you, Natalie, was about in your post. But where I'm at with men, I have been on some dates. I could count on 2 hands before this program how many dates I've been on in my entire life. They were not all winners. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't all great, but it taught me so much. It was like playing. I don't want to call it a game, but it was fun. I remember listening to my old calls, and I remember saying, like, dating is such a job. It's so much work. I remember saying I would much rather work 2 or 3 additional hours every day than have to date, because it's so taxing. And then Anna was just like, Sonia, that just seems like you're not ready to date. There's no pressure. If you feel that way, don't do it. And I'm happy because I wasn't ready. But every time I dated someone, I realized either what I like and appreciate about him or what it is that I'm not available for. And it really helped. I know you keep a funnel until you get claimed. This is a very, very, very important part of our program. And I have taken some individuals out of my funnel right now. I'm working on replacing them, but there are certain individuals that stand out a bit more, that have been a bit more prominent. It's just that, the main thing I want to say is, even if this doesn't work out with my top contender in my funnel, this program gave me the faith to believe and know that I will still be okay, because the anxiety it shifted from me, like, okay, I'm this old, my biological clock, this is not, what is he thinking? What is he wanting me to do? Now the anxiety is kind of shifting to him based on the way I operate. He's like, is she going to find somebody else? Is she going to meet someone else? Is she going to still want to be around me or be interested in me? And that's an amazing embodiment to feel, because women, you can feel if a man has that kind of energy around you. And I'm kind of just thriving in it. I'm here for it. I'm working on being open and receiving. But it's just, I feel better. I feel happier, even if it wasn't for the men. Even if it, like I said, the women are the ones that enriched my life the most. The main difference I can say that I've felt in 3, 4, however long it's been since, February 10th, I'm happy now. And that's insane, because if I would have seen a program before that said, join this program, I'll make you happy, I would have been like, that's bullshit. What, are you going to give me some pills? And, really, Anna, it's not about you. No offense, even though you made this material and all that. I've had some amazing conversations with Stephanie. And her and I really resonate with boundaries and stuff, the work that we did there. It's every single woman, their journey, and how they lend to you. Every time we hold space for another woman, I learn from it, So I feel like I've just been talking.
No,
but
good. I see. You're not sharing the big story here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's okay.
I do want to share it.
Well,
so,
share
okay,
as much as you want, Sonia, because I was just gonna say, you can just.
It is amazing.
Not give any details. Just
I will.
Because I want to hear that. In
so
details.
In my entire life, I've literally, I can tell you that I've flown a male individual in my past to Italy before, and then paid to go to Rome, Venice, all of this. And I footed the entire expense. This is not something that's new to me. And for the first time ever, I met this guy. And what's so crazy, though, is the fact that I started Anna's program February 10th. The first time, we'd known each other for 1 whole year prior to that, but the first time he ever actually messaged me directly was February 15th. So 5 days of me joining this program. I'm not saying that that's because of that, but hey. And then we really started talking around March 3rd. So just to give you a time frame, but we were just talking the other night or not too long ago, and he booked a flight for both of us. He booked a whole trip for us to go to Puerto Rico. And this is the first time in my entire life that a man has stepped up, and we're going to go on a vacation together. And he didn't ask me for any kind of money. He didn't ask me the only thing he asked me was, what is your email so I can send you the itinerary? And I'm not going to lie, half of me was just I'm calling bullshit on this. I'm going to call his bluff. Let's see what he does. Within 47 minutes, I got an email, and I'm like, oh my God, he really did this. The only questions he really had was, do you prefer a window seat or an aisle seat? And it was insane. So even then, I was just like, okay, whatever. Maybe he was just in this for a moment, whatever. Within 24 hours, he was like, so here are 7 places. Where do you want to stay? And I was just like, what is happening? So I gave him my top 2 or 3 choices. Before I knew it, he booked that. And I was on the phone, I'm not even gonna lie, with my friends, okay, I should pay for the resort or whatever, because he paid for the flight. So I'm in the 50-50 mindset, and then I go on Facebook and I go through our group and I read, and I'm like, you're not supposed to do this. So I lean back, I'm not gonna do anything. And before I knew it, he contacted me with options, and then he booked it. And to bring up a story, Anna, like you've asked everyone, I'll tell it now because it'll really fit in. He was actually at my place, and we were just randomly talking. This is a man that by some, I don't even know what it is, but every time I step out of my feminine into my masculine, he'll put me back. Somehow, some way, or the cosmos or the universe does. We were talking randomly, I don't know, about cryptocurrency or something. I stepped into my masculine and I said, I can help you transfer this. Don't worry about it. So I get on my computer, he logs in, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, because of one of my mistakes that I've never made in my entire life, ever with anybody, I sent something to the wrong network and it was his money and he lost it, okay? And it was entirely my fault and I was freaking out and I was mortified. And I'm sorry, Anna, even though I shouldn't have, I did offer to just pay him the money because it would make me feel so much better. But he's like, no, it's okay. It's my fault. I should have figured it out. I should have done it. He just totally took responsibility. Now, the reason I bring this up is that is the same day that when we spent the day together, he went home at night and he messaged me saying, I really had an amazing day with you today. And to give you a monetary value, it was like $1,500 to $2,000 that we just lost because I clicked the wrong button. And I just read that message like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was mortified. And that actually, you guys, happened to be the same night he booked our trip to Puerto Rico. So that's when I was just like, oh my God, leaning back just to watch what they do. It's just incredible. So like even today, I mentioned to you guys the flowers and he knew I was going to do a podcast. He has no idea what this group is about, but he sent me flowers and a really cute, sweet note attached to it. So, but I'm not claimed, so I'm just going to put that out there. But this is just some of the things that I'm open to receive. This is my new reality.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
Thank you, Sonia. Sometimes I discuss with my man, because I see the stories. I'm like, String, guess what happened? Remember this and this? And, I keep him updated. And I love how, Sonia, with you, on every group coaching call, we're like, this is a Netflix series because this woman is coming up every week. And she's like, and we've been watching. I'm like, Sonia, just lean back to this. We're going to coach through this. And every week a woman comes into the call or in the group and we're just watching a movie. And I absolutely love it. And, we went to bed that night when I read your Puerto Rico post and I said, did I pay for anything when we were traveling? Because, String and I we were traveling every 2 months. Mexico, we met in Colombia, but we did Mexico, Brazil. And he's like looking at me. He's like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I think you just bought your ticket, your initial ticket to Mexico to come and meet me there. But after that, I think I paid for everything. And I'm like, good girl. It's so funny. But what happens is that when you let them, they really, they step into that space and they absolutely love it. Women have so many fears and like, oh my God, I should put 50-50, and it's like, just let men be men. They love to take care of you. They love to provide. They love to hold space for you. And they also love to pay, to book
his whole face lit up. He was just so happy.
And your
I have 3 or 4 mics around me.
Your reaction to that gift is going to be much more worthy to him than you paying your own ticket or whatever. So, ladies, let's finish up. And one last question to you before we all wrap up, and we'll go Sonia, Christina, Natalie. For all the women listening today and watching this, what would you tell them? If a woman is where you have been in your particular story, and she's like maybe scared or doubting, why would you recommend booking your discovery call, which you can do at girlskill.com/apply. You can apply and then book your call. Why would you recommend just booking your call? Because I think a lot of women are very much overthinking this, as I said. Why would you recommend booking the call and then signing up to the program? Sonia, go ahead.
What I would say to anybody contemplating joining and is afraid or overthinking, it's just look at the past and look at what you've done, what you may have tried, and look at where you are. If you continue down doing the same things like I was, you're going to get the same results. And I just would ask myself, does it feel right in your body? Does it resonate? If you're still here, you're still thinking about it, then we've struck a chord somewhere. And taking a chance on yourself can be very scary, but I just had a feeling within myself that I have to do this. It's what feels right. And God, I'm so happy that I did. I can't imagine not doing it. But what I would say is, gosh, it's so hard to sum all of it up into one, but you have to choose yourself. If you don't choose yourself, nobody ever will. If you don't see that initial value and you being worthy of investment in yourself, then that's a red flag. This is why you should join. Those of you, like Christina had mentioned, like she loves to give and stuff like that, you have to give to yourself first, because if not, you're going to keep giving, you're going to feel empty, you're going to get you're going to be resentful. And there's so much love to go around in this community. God, that's what I would do it for you. You've heard my story, and that's just one aspect. I'm just one of, like, God knows how many women there are, and my story is not the most impressive. I'm not claimed. This is only one guy. There are women in this program that have a lot of really cool stuff happening, but just give it a chance. You don't have anything to lose, really, realistically.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks so much, Sonia. We'll switch to Christina. Hang on, Christina, you're muted. Just unmute yourself.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, my 2021 resolution, and this is something that others and, whoever's listening to this podcast should consider, is, open yourself up to possibilities. Really, it's don't be afraid what you'd encounter, the good and the bad. That's part of your personal journey, whether it's with claimed or something else. But just open up yourself, because you just don't realize what could come to you once you just open up, just the thought of opening up. So, and to echo what Sonia was saying, you are your best investment. This is an investment that is ongoing. And, whatever age you may be in, right? Some of us at certain ages, you're like, oh, I want to like save up because I want to buy this purse or go on this trip or get this car or these shoes, right? This is the best investment, because it's like a gift for yourself that that just keeps on giving. And it's definitely worth being selfish for yourself, because to Sonia's point, next thing you know, you're going to resent the fact that you forgot about yourself. And, in my journey, it's, I wanted to enrich myself with coaching in my professional life. And like I said earlier, this is my gift to myself. I want to get coaching for my love life, for my personal life, because one thing I've definitely learned that I forgot to mention earlier is we all need help. We all need help regardless of whatever situation you may be, because we're not experts in everything and in life. So that's what I want to share with whoever's listening to this, and make that investment, and it's going to be worth it. You'll be so surprised, and just don't be afraid for whatever you may experience, and it's totally worth it, because there's a really good community part of Claim. So
beautiful. Thank you. And last but not least, Natalie.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo everybody, it really is such an expansive experience. And the embodiment work, I had said earlier that I had been in therapy and done personal development work, but never in my life have I experienced the power of feminine embodiment. And now I can't imagine my life without it. And I think I just feel so powerful. Like, I can't even tell you the career opportunities that have come my way through doing this. Like, just today, I have been in meetings since 8 a.m. I've been offered a partnership. I've been offered 2 different like clinical positions, like crazy things career-wise. And that's totally separate from the male side, but there's this power that you gain when you invest in yourself and you have confidence in your being, and that's what the embodiment is. And like, people are like, you're different than other people. You show up with a sense of confidence and belief in yourself when you do this work that you can't put a price tag on. And I would say, like, the amount of career opportunities I've got, like, I'm making back my investment. And because that, it's so true, because like people want to invest in you. You're like a good team member, you're a good doctor, you're a good lawyer, like whatever it is that you do, you'll do it better. And yeah, I guess I wanted to mention that it's not only the relationship side that grows through this program, it's really all aspects that you become embodied in who you are. And yeah, you just can't, it's just amazing. So yeah, definitely I would say sign up for sure.
You ladies, I would just keep talking to you forever, you know. We should just open this up for like 8-9 hours. I can't wait to meet you all in person and really feel your energy and just, my God, next year. So thank you. I really, really appreciate all of you coming here and sharing your story and telling women why they should join, and absolutely love it. I mean, the work continues. You're still in the group, and if you're listening to this and you're going to join, and to all of you know that, you know, every roundtable brings more women in, and they're like, I've signed up because of you. So that's the contribution that you're making. So thanks so much, ladies. I'm going to let you go. And we will see you in our group, because the work continues. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the
Bye.
invitation.
Thanks, Eleanor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.